Today we're going to talk about vermicomposting, what it is, how you can do it, and why you should be starting it today.
1, 2, 3, 4.
What are we about to do right now?
Get some worms.
We're going to order our first set of worms. What is that? Ooh. If you couldn't tell from my acting, we were actually expecting this package, but the perishable sticker was a dead giveaway that this was our little worm buddies. Currently, we're staying in my parents' house while we wait on closing for our future homestead, but we wanted to get started and we figured that vermicomposting was a great way, as soil is the building blocks for a beautiful garden and our worms were just the ticket we needed. Today we're going to be talking about vermicomposting. But first off, what is composting? Composting is organic matter that's decomposed to make nutrient-rich plant foods. This is ideal for any homestead or farmers, and a way to speed up this process is with worms. So we actually ordered these Uncle Jim's worms from his worm farm. They've been highly recommended, so we decided we wanted to start getting his worms and creating our own vermicompost. Vermicompost is extremely valuable to your plants, and it's a great way to compost in any size house. You can actually start this in your own apartment and just use a bin like this. So I have this bin that I created. You're definitely going to want to start off with a dark bin because worms really love dark, moist environments. What we did here is Chris actually went ahead and drilled some holes into the sides. He went in and used a drill bit to just go in, creating holes about 2 inches from each other on each side of the container, right there on the top, about an inch or two down. This is where the worms are going to be able to breathe from, but they aren't going to be able to squirm out of. So a lot of people that do vermicomposting think that you should be creating holes in the bottom so that some of that water and sludge and smelliness of composting will seep out. But if you actually have a good, well moisturized, not too wet, and happy worms that are eating the organic matter that you're putting into there regularly, then it won't get smelly. So you're going to want to make sure that you're checking up on this composting regularly to make sure that you're feeding them enough, but not overfeeding them or moisturizing. One question that a lot of people ask is how often you can be feeding your worms. Today we're going to be using red wigglers, which are the best for vermicomposting. You can also use different type of worms like night crawlers, but red wigglers are the best source for vermicomposting because they're able to eat their pound in body weight per day. But that being said, that is happy worms. So you want to make sure that your worms are happy. You want to keep them in the right temperature. The right temperature is anywhere from 55 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit. And you're going to want to give them enough moisture. You can feed them either on a daily schedule or a weekly schedule. A lot of people tend to do weekly just because it is easier, so you can keep some of the compost in your kitchen. And then when you are ready every week, you can put that into the worm bin. Especially at the beginning, you're going to want to make sure that your worms are really happy, but you're not overfeeding them so that the compost doesn't become all smelly. So I definitely suggest doing weekly at the beginning, seeing how your worms are eating it, how fast they're eating it, and then you can continue. Something to know about temperatures. You're going to want to make sure to not keep your worms at any freezing conditions or any overly hot because these can kill your worms. I suggest keeping them underneath your sink if you live in a small apartment or a garage that is insulated so that they aren't kept in too extreme of temperatures, because like any other animal, you do want to treat them well. Now, let's talk about creating a vermicompost setting. So like I said before, I have this 14-gallon compost bin that I'm going to be putting them in. We drilled some holes on the side for them to breathe, and then we went outside and filled it up with a mixture of dirt and leaves. This is going to be your bedding. This is a brown source of carbon for your worms. This is gonna just let them acclimate into their weather. They do really like dirt, so you're gonna wanna keep them in a place that they really like. In a few videos that I watched, and while I was learning about vermicomposting, there is ways that you can actually buy soil, and Uncle Jim's worm farm actually does have a lot of soil types that you can purchase. So if you don't have that much soil or a backyard, you can feel free to purchase it from a store. We decided to go the good old green route and dig some up in our backyard. Then we started to fill it up with leaves. Okay, that's good. We're good. Let's talk about the worms. So a happy and healthy worm population will double every 90 days. So that means in 3 months from now, our 500 worms will be 1,000. And we're gonna be tracking this journey. So we are gonna check back in 3 months and let you know how our vermicomposting is doing, some troubles that we incurred, and the pros and cons, and how the population's grown. So you're definitely gonna want to subscribe and stay tuned for that. But now let's add the worms to the bin. Let's take these little guys and add them to the bin that we made. They're nice, small, skinny red wigglers. They're alive and doing good. So we're gonna pop them into the compost bin. You will want to pull back those leaves that you added, or newspaper if you decided to add newspaper as your brown compound, and you're going to just lay in those worms into the soil. So this way they have a little bit of a home to grow in. And we got those 500 pack of worms, and there were so many, let me tell you. It felt like they were definitely compressed into that tiny bag, and you do want to make sure to turn it inside out because there were some stragglers that you don't want to forget about. Then we also saved some Brussels sprouts from dinner the other day. These are just the ends, and we'll just put these in. You want to make sure that you're not putting too large of chunks in, so you'll want to cut some of these down so they're more digestible and they get eaten a lot faster. If you enjoy getting your hands dirty, then join us on our ride as we create our homestead, and we will be posting updates on our vermicompost as well as other DIY projects that we're doing to create our own homestead. So you'll definitely want to subscribe and like this video if you enjoyed it. See you guys again next week. Bye. There's a worm in here. We got a loose worm.
Loose wiggler. Loose wiggler.
Loose wiggler.
Eat some worms?
You gonna eat some worms?
No.
I think that was just dirt. You lucked out.